Hi, my name is Deb Johnston, and welcome to Women Reinventing Midlife TV, where we aim to inspire women over 50 to thrive in a meaningful life that you deserve. Here you're going to find real life stories from women over 50 to inspire you to reinvent your life, your career, business, health, relationships, in fact, any aspect of life. We're also going to share tips and content on mindset, wellness, and style to guide you to build confidence and increase vitality in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. And today we have an incredibly inspirational story to share with you because I'm joined by Janey Carr, all the way from New Zealand, which actually isn't that far away. It's just over the pond from me. And Janey is the creator of Friendships Made Easy, where she helps women over 50 find new friendships and meaningful connections for more fun, laughter, and happiness in life. And Janey has this brilliant belief that no one should ever feel lonely. And I love that because I absolutely agree. And I know that this can be quite troubling for a number of women in this phase of life. So I'm really interested to hear what Janey is going to share with us today. She's also going to share her transitional stories. Notice the plural because there's more than one, there's actually three. That's actually led her to doing life the way she's doing it right now. So Janey, welcome. I'm really excited that you've been able to join us.
Oh, thanks so much for having me on your show, Deb. It's a real privilege to be able to share this time with you and your audience. So thank you. I'm really excited too.
Cool. Welcome. So three transitional stories.
Yeah, crazy.
and they all kind of stack on each other, don't they? And that's something that a lot of us fail to realize when we get to 50 and over, that those moves that we've made in earlier life are actually instrumental in helping us move forward from where we are now. So yours started when you were 34.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. I left school when I was 16 and I just became a secretary because my mum was a secretary. Going to university wasn't an option for me, even though it was free back then. I had no idea what I wanted to be or what I wanted to do. So I just stayed being a secretary for the next, 20 odd years. And even though I was really good at being a PA and it paid well, I was so bored and it just felt like I was wasting my life away, being stuck in an office. And it didn't give me the freedom that I wanted, and I wasn't making a difference. And I was just a number.
Yeah.
So then, because I'd always wanted to go to uni, I decided at 34 that I was going to do it. I was living in London at the time with my husband, and with his support, he agreed. And I decided to study to be a dietitian. I'd always had an interest in nutrition. And I thought, yeah, that would be a good idea. Let's do it. And within the first month, I found that I was really struggling. I had no idea why I was struggling when no one else was. I was really struggling with the workload. And it turns out, long story short, that I was dyslexic. And I had never known that I was dyslexic.
Wow.
And it was I had poor working memory, and I just wasn't coping with the cognitive load on my brain. It was just not happy. So I didn't quit. It was just pure grit and determination that got me through those next 4 grueling years. And I made it to the end. I was super proud of myself.
Well done.
Yeah. I got a really good grade, but I just felt that I had to work twice as hard as everyone else. At the end of it, unfortunately, being a dietitian didn't pay very well. So after paying for lunch and childcare and public transport, I had about £20 left over each week. And, I just thought, this isn't working for me. So even though I was making a difference, I wasn't ever really going to be really good at it, because I found that with my dyslexia, I couldn't really recall what I was learning. And I had to keep learning new stuff. And so it just was a real struggle constantly for me. And I was never going to be financially free being a dietitian. Yeah. So I went back to being a PA, and I was really gutted, because it felt like those 4 years of blood, sweat and tears had just been for nothing. And I actually felt like I'd failed somewhat.
Yeah, but you didn't, right? You didn't.
I didn't.
Fail.
I didn't, no, because, you know, all knowledge and all learning is useful for something. And it was a life experience, and I got to go to uni, tick that box. So I'm glad I did it. But yeah, I ended up being a PA. I came back to New Zealand, and I took the easy route again. I just became a PA. And there's nothing wrong with being a PA. It's a great career for some, but for me, I just did not feel like I was reaching my full potential. And I didn't want to get to 65 and still be a PA or an EA and retire. And I know I'd just be bitterly disappointed in myself and in my life.
Yeah.
So one day I went to the beach, and I sat down all day, and I just brainstormed about what I'm good at, what I enjoy doing, what would make a difference, and what I could make a living at. And I sat there all day, and eventually came up with an idea of a crazy idea, actually, of creating an online support platform, matching people in need who need help, and matching them with people who want to help during difficult times. Because people always need help when they're you know, sick, and people always want to help, but they don't know how to help. So I just thought, well, let's bring them together. My mum had cancer for 34 years, so I kind of had knowledge of what that was like. So then I spoke to my husband, and he was on board with the idea. Yeah. And we decided to go all in, and we hired a business coach, because we actually had no idea where to start. And over the next 6 years, it was a massive roller coaster, a huge learning curve, because I knew nothing about anything that I really actually needed to do and to know. So it's
a big learning curve, isn't it, when you start your own business?
I know, it's massive. It was like doing another degree, but a life degree.
That's right. I'm really glad that you realized that you needed guidance with it, and you got yourself a coach, because so many people don't do that, and they struggle away, and they wonder why it doesn't work. Yeah,
I know. You definitely need a coach. It stopped us from being overwhelmed. And I just did the next thing they told me to do. And so I just did it, and we got to where we were, and it was good. I'd never worked so hard in my entire life, and I didn't get paid for it, which
you got it. So you got to be passionate, haven't you? You got to be passionate about it.
Yeah. I get that now. If you're not passionate, you're not going to be able to last the distance. So we eventually we pivoted, and we changed from the original idea of people helping people to helping the charities to help their people in need through charity own brand prepaid cards.
Nice.
But yeah, it was quite a journey. But what I learned was the business we were creating wasn't actually in alignment with my one core value that I found out later. And I actually felt like I was quite trapped at times, because my core value was freedom.
Yeah.
Now I know that. And building as a startup co-founder, you don't have any freedom. You don't have financial freedom. You don't have emotional freedom. You don't have physical freedom. So I just felt trapped. So yeah, there's a few things I would do differently now. And I do have some regrets about doing it. Just little ones. Overall, it was worth it. And yeah.
The thing is, though, if you hadn't have done it, you probably wouldn't have realized that one essential piece that was missing, that your core value is freedom, and it wasn't fulfilling it. And this is when I say that, you know, we can't make a mistake and we can't fail, because whatever we do, even if it's not what we want,
yeah,
we're going to get that little bit of information that it's going to help us with the next step.
absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. And it's great that you work with a coach, because obviously that helped you realize it as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Mm.
You do learn a lot about yourself when you take these steps. I mean, it's a massive growth journey, and it is worth taking. And yeah, if it wasn't for that whole 6-year experience, I wouldn't have. I know now to do things differently, you know, based on my core value of freedom. So yeah, I was pretty naive, which is a good thing, because I didn't know what I didn't know, and I probably never would have done it.
That's right.
I would have been too scared.
That's right.
And overwhelmed. And there were some really dark moments. But what I learned was they don't last forever. You know, there's going to be good moments around the corner, the good times, and vice versa. The good times don't last.
Yeah.
Around the corner, there's going to be bad times. So,
because that's life, isn't it? We've got the yin and yang. Yeah.
I know. Keep going. Just keep going. It's either going to get worse or it's going to get better, but it's just going to keep, you know, it's like ups and downs, continual ebbs and flows through life.
It's so, so true. And whether you start a business or not, or whether you're going to a new career, or whether you just stay where you are, you're still going to get the highs and the lows. It's just the way life works. Yeah.
I'd rather be trying new things and still having those ups and downs, rather than just doing nothing, because I would still be miserable by doing nothing. So I might as well just have some really, really good times trying something new, and the down times, rather than being just totally miserable all the time. Absolutely. I love that. It's because how much does your confidence grow when you make those steps? Massive. Yeah. Massively. I remember when before I became a dietitian, and we were training, and we were made to sit in front of a patient. There's 3 of us trainee dietitians, and we all had to ask her one question, and I was petrified. I didn't want to ask a question. But, you know, I look back then, I think how ridiculous, because, you know, the things I've had to do since then were way, way worse than that. I mean, even being here today talking to you, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do that 20 odd years ago.
Yeah. Same. I wouldn't have been able to do this. I remember in my foundations of coaching, the very first part of the course I did, I remember standing up, this is 10 years ago, standing up and introducing myself as shy. As shy. And because I said that, I behaved that way.
Totally. Oh, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy how you just, I don't know, you hide behind these things. You know, just because you're out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, that's right. And that's going to be, you know, and being out of the comfort zone is going to be the biggest growth tool you can ever really have, and the biggest confidence boosting tool too. So with everything that you learned from that business, you had another transition at 51, didn't you?
I did. Because I did have a few regrets with that startup time. And one of them was because I went down that rabbit hole for 6 years. One of the things I did was I really neglected friends and family. And I really missed out on about 4 years of my son's life, from the age of 6 to 10. I just feel like I've got no memory of that. And I kind of feel sad about that. So when I came out of that rabbit hole, it's like, oh, where are all my friends gone? Like, oh dear, and I just thought, oh, I'm gonna have to do something about this. And so I started learning everything I could about friendship, and realizing where I'd gone wrong, and realizing how important friendship is for your mental health, your physical health, and your happiness. And it's like, and then I realized there's so many people, so many women, people in general, but women in their 50s also struggle to make friends as adults. And it's like, well, I can share what I'm learning, and that's what brought me to this. But I was going to do it differently this time. I was going to do it based on my core value of freedom.
Nice.
Every decision that I made and make going forward from this moment on is to make sure that I'm going to get my end goal of freedom, whether that's freedom to be me, financial freedom, freedom of movement. So it was good to have that startup experience to know what I don't want.
Yeah.
And make it what I want going forward. It's great to have the opportunity to do so as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a brilliant insight to have, because there's a lot of women in this phase of life want to start their own business. And you're right, in that startup phase, you don't get much freedom. Like that first couple of years, that first 2 or 3 years is really full on. And in that first 2 or 3 years, it was around about that time, I neglected my friendships too. So I know exactly what you're talking about, to the point that, I nearly lost two of my closest friends. So it's very important to have this awareness. But what I find too is, and what I find with working with a lot of different women, is that because we change as we grow, as we age, as we change, and our life changes, sometimes the friends that we had, we don't have anything in common with anymore, do we?
No,
that's another thing.
Well, that's what I realized. I learned a lot about the process of friendship that I had actually no idea, because we're never really taught about friendship. It's just trial and error through the years. And what I didn't realize is that you're always having to be making new friends, because your life is in constant change. And if you change, then it's going to change all your relationships. It just happens that way.
Yeah.
And you could move away, and they could move away, and they could get really busy in their life, or family complications. Just there's so much going on in midlife that we have to deal with, that our friendships often take the back seat and they're not prioritized, which is a kind of a mistake, because you need to be planting your seeds now for the future. You can't just expect friends to be there in the future if you haven't put the work in now. And so you really do have to prioritize it, because they're not going to be there if you don't. They're just not going to come to you.
Yeah, absolutely true.
And it's one of the biggest determinants of your health in the future, is that social network and the friendships that you have. That's even taking into effect diet and exercise. If you don't have that support network or your close friends as you go into your later years, you're really going to suffer in your health. So it's so important.
Yeah, so important. It's one of the essential core needs of a human being, isn't it?
Totally.
Connection. Yeah, so important.
And there's so many women at the moment that are feeling disconnected. They really want that connection. And now is actually, it's not too late. It's the perfect time to be making friends, because we're all like reclaiming ourselves and rediscovering ourselves and getting our life back. That's what I find really exciting. I'm getting my life back.
Yeah.
And all these other women in their 50s are the same. They're all looking for new friends. So it's the perfect time to be going out there and meeting new people and meeting new women and building those connections now.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I do agree. Yeah, absolutely. Because as we age, things change, our kids leave home. So, the friends that we had when we had kids at home may not have the same interests as we have moving forward, or even the same values, because values really play a big part in friendships, don't they?
They totally do. I mean, there's some core qualities that make really good friendships. And if they're in misalignment with what your core values are, they're going to rub, and you're not going to actually last the distance. They're not going to become your really close friends. They might play a peripheral part in your life, but they're not going to be your close friends, the ones that you rely on for support.
Yeah, for sure. So you made that transition at 51, and after 50, one of the big things that tend to get in the way, the big beliefs, I would say, that get in the way of women making a transition after 50, I know this got in my way for about a year, right? Is, have I left it too late? Have I left it too late? Or is it, what was mine? I've left it too late to start all over again. There's this kind of belief that we're starting again. We're starting from the beginning. That's right.
No. Yeah. No, because I kind of had that feeling. I thought I was old at 20. How ridiculous is that? I remember saying to this guy I met, he said, "What do you want to be?" And I said, "I want to be a dancer, but I'm too old." And he said, "You're not too old." It's ridiculous now when I look back. And so what I do is I project forward. I imagine myself being 90. My nana's 93. And I look back at myself at 50 and 60 and think, that's not old. How ridiculous to think I'm too old at 50 and 60 when I've got another possible 30 years ahead of me. That's a whole lifetime to be doing something different. And it's never too late to start again. You're never too old. I mean, the guy, the founder of KFC, he was 52 when he started KFC. So you're never ever too late to try something new.
Never too late. I always say to people, what about Louise Hay? You know, what about Mariana Huffington? What about Caroline Leboucher, who became a model in her 50s? You know, a lady with a beautiful long grey hair. It's never too late. It's really the only thing that ever limits us is our own perception. That's it.
That's right. And just wishing things were different and dreaming things were different, it's not going to get you anywhere. You know, if you do nothing, you think nothing's going to change, but actually it's going to get worse, because doing nothing, like if you do nothing with your diet, eventually you're going to have ill health. If you do nothing with exercise, eventually you're going to be weak and frail. If you don't do something with your friendships, you're going to end up with none. So you got to do something. You can't just do nothing. You're going to regret it.
That's right. I'll wait till I have more confidence. It doesn't work, does it?
No, you get confidence by doing stuff out of your comfort zone.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I'll wait till I have more time. I'll wait till I have more money. It's what if by taking that leap, it's going to enable you to have more time and have more money. This is the thing. You just don't know if you don't do it.
That's right. And you just got to start, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, that was my mistake. I just wanted to be good at it and be perfect at it, but actually just start, because you're never going to end up where you start anyway. So just start somewhere. That's
right. Because it's constantly evolving, isn't it?
It's
constantly evolving.
Absolutely.
That's
what's so exciting.
Yeah, I love that technique that you use, is you go forward to you're about 90 and then look back from that space at your 50s, and then you feel like a spring chicken.
You do.
Which we are.
And also I read, we are definitely. And actually I feel like I'm in my prime, and my husband says I'm in my prime. So that's good. But I read a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And there was five top regrets. I can't remember them all, but the one that stuck in my mind was not having spent enough time with friends and family. No, I don't want to have that regret. I don't want to have worked all my life, or money and building an empire or working hard are not the things that I'm going to be proud of at the end of my days. It's who you have around you, and the love that you put out into the world during your time on earth that's going to be reflected back, not how hard you worked or how much money you have. It's so important. I always start with the end in mind.
Yes. Good. I like it. Me too.
People think it's morbid, but that's what I do.
It's nice to know where you're heading. That's right. Makes a difference. Makes a complete difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love it. So, okay. Is there any advice or any? I love the technique that you shared. That's a really good one. Any advice or any encouragement that you'd like to give the ladies watching today?
You know what, my advice would be is to discover what your one core value is, the one word that you're unconsciously living your life by. There's a really good website called dig.com, I think. It helps you think about what that one word is. And so for me, it's freedom. And now I understand why all the decisions I made from a little kid to now were based around that. And why I never found joy really in what I was doing because of that one word, freedom. If you can find out what that one word is, use it as your compass for every decision and every goal that you make going forward from this moment on, because it will head you in the right direction for that feeling of fulfillment.
Yeah.
It's what you unconsciously desire. Find out what that is and work with that.
I love it. I love it. And when you're fulfilled, you thrive.
That's right.
Yeah, you're lit up.
Yeah. You're a magnet for life because you're so happy.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Janey. Where can our lady viewers, where can they contact you? Is there a platform that they can contact you on, or a website?
So they can go to my website, which is friendshipmadeeasy.com. Through that, you'll get to everywhere I am eventually. So yeah, start there. And you should be able to get in contact with me. There's a little chat button there as well. So
fantastic. Fantastic. And you can find a live link to actually go through to Janey's website in the description notes underneath this video. So just click on the description notes there, and I'll make sure that the live link is in there for you to connect with Janey. It sounds absolutely fantastic what you do. I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. I think it's really important.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Been a really inspirational story, and thank you for the techniques and the encouragement and the advice that you've shared. It makes a massive difference to other women. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Deb. I've really enjoyed the opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you.
I hope it does make a difference to someone hearing what I have to say.
I'm sure it will. Yeah, I'm sure it will. And thank you, everyone watching, for joining us. Thank you for your time. I trust you've enjoyed this interview and you feel really inspired about your next steps in creating your next chapter. If you found this video helpful and inspirational, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. You can share the video with your friends. And if you'd like to hear more inspirational stories like these, or receive more snippets around mindset, health, and style, then remember to subscribe to this channel and click the bell for notifications so you don't miss out. Looking forward to connecting with you again soon. Lots of love. Bye-bye.